Welcome to another episode of Axe of the Blood God, an independent RPG podcast. I'm your host, Kat Bailey. Joining me, as always, my lovely co-host, Nadia Oxford.
Hello, Kat. Welcome to a day that is already 30 degrees Celsius without the humidity. I can't read that yet, and I am from the only unair-conditioned corner in my apartment, so hi.
Also joining us, my equally lovely co-host, Eric Van Allen.
Celsius it doesn't make sense to me, you know?
Don't
it's like
start with this. Like, I cannot handle this.
so like
Saturday
3
morning.
degrees, that's like really cold, right?
Yes, it's pretty
Okay,
cold.
and 0 is freezing.
0 is freezing.
That's great. I love that. But
Okay.
what's burning? It's only like 33, right?
Only, he says. 33 is pretty hot. 33 is very hot for Toronto, and that's not including the humidity, which is usually can be up to 100%, depending on how unlucky you are.
Yeah, it should be. I like that Fahrenheit has really, really hot at like 90 and 100, and I like that Celsius has freezing at 0. We need to find the middle ground. We need Fahrensius to get this done.
That sounds like a Final Fantasy villain.
Yes.
Fahrensius, oh shit, Fahrensius
Excited
from the village
for the
again.
next Final Fantasy reveal. 17's villain will be Fahrensius, King Fahrensius.
God damn it, Fahrensius. Stop poisoning a water hole.
He's in
Speaking
like
of-
Joker makeup, like hee.
I like that Axe of the Blood God now has its own villain, Fahrensius.
Fahrensius.
This was the
That's a good
origin of
name.
Fahrensius.
And he can cast Faraga and Blizzaga at the same
Oh, shit.
time. He's
Oh,
like
at the
that
same
dude from My
time.
Hero. Yeah.
What a rebel. How do we beat him?
Speaking of Final Fantasy, we're streaming this and recording this literally as the Final Fantasy IX live stream is happening on GDQ. So for all of you who are dual screening it right now, watching us while we watch the Final Fantasy IX GDQ live stream, we thank you. I'm reminded that Final Fantasy IX is a beautiful game and that it's really cool, and also that they're at the part of the game that I think is a little bit lesser than the first half. The first half's brilliant.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Love the first half of Final Fantasy IX. Second half, maybe a little bit lesser. I think that's when they start to lose the thread. The dungeons become less interesting. They're obviously trying to get it out the door a little bit. So
Yeah, I do admit that the second half of FF9, like, when you meet Aiko, whatever her name is, and whatever dude is, I can't remember his name, that's how much of an impact he makes. It goes downhill a little bit, but still a great
Amaranth.
game overall. What's his name? Amaranth?
I think that's his name. Yeah. We've actually talked a lot about Final Fantasy IX on this show. We did a Pantheon episode, which you can subscribe to us on patreon.com/bloodgodpod for the Pantheon. And we've also done a long ago, I forced Nadia to play it for content. And we did a Final Fantasy IX report. That was in like 2017 or something like that. So too long ago, man. So
Too long.
go back in our archives for that one. But speaking of Final Fantasy, in this week's episode, during the Tavern segment, we are going to be talking about Yoshi P's recent comments on whether or not Final Fantasy may end up being turn-based in the future. Spoiler alert, he says there's no definitive answer, but a lot of people were weighing in, including Larian's publishing director, so we'll be covering all of that. But first, it's letter time. It's letter time. Yep, we got a whole bunch of mailbag questions, including what RPG we could see ourselves properly speedrunning, the best RPG town music, and Nadia's favorite Toronto Southern Ontario pizza chain. Don't answer that
You're
yet,
gonna make
Nadia.
everyone so mad. I can't wait.
You want to burn? You don't want to burn pod.
I'm not gonna burn
burn pod.
content. Not gonna burn pizzas.
We're also going to talk about that horse girl game or something.
Yeah, we are. Y'all thought you only got 1 week of Uma Musume? No, we're doing week 2, baby.
Oh, what? You talked about it last week too?
Oh no, I gave up. Gave up the bit.
This is what happens when I go away to the UK. You all talk about horse girl games or something.
Started betting on the horses. To be clear, there is no gambling. It's not a gambling game.
Gambling,
okay.
Specifically,
Gambling,
that
Merely
way.
it's gambling.
Yeah. Merely involves other kinds of gambling.
I just like horsies.
Before we get to that, though, patreon.com/bloodgodpod. Like and subscribe. Twitch.tv/bloodgodpod. Like and subscribe. We have a ton of bonus content. Recently, we did a book club. It was for the 5th season. It was really fun. We were on the Discord. We were vibing. We had a great time. We did a whole episode about it. You should go listen to it. It's available now to our subscribers exclusively at the $10 level. Also available, it's our current side quest, Magic the Gathering. Oh my god. It's the best of times and the blurst of times on the Discord. Some people are just thriving. They're having a great time. One of those people is named Kat. Another one of those people is named Eric. One of those people who are not thriving, their name is Nadia.
And if
Criminal Justice.
if your name rhymes with Criminal Justice, you're having a really tough time right now.
You did this to yourselves. I merely said, here's a choice, and y'all voted for it.
That's
I'm just
true.
saying.
I can't fault you
Could have
guys
been
for
playing
that.
Pokemon. Could have been playing Street Fighter, but
Could've
you
played
picked
Pokemon.
Magic. But we did have a really fantastic game just the other day where we invited a Zixa and Robo Riley on a stream
That was so much fun.
and played
right.
a bunch of Commander with them. My favorite moment was when Robo Riley vamped Yuna, turned her into a vampire, brought her over to the dark side. And I was like,
we
this
made
is some
fan
quality
fiction.
fan fiction, folks.
I hope this doesn't awaken anything in me.
Yeah. Also, make sure to check out our Final Fantasy 14 podcast, Charlie and Dropouts. Make sure to check out our merch shop, bloodgodpod.com. And we have a newsletter, bloodgodpod.com is where you can subscribe to it. Also, we shout out a different star of Destiny every single week. And this week, we are shouting out a Zixa. Thank you,
Hi,
Zixa. Thank you so much
Zixa.
for your support.
Thanks for playing Pokemon Go with me too. We played Pokemon Go.
All right, it's letter time. Every so
letter
often,
time.
we get together, we read questions from our audience, we delve into the old mailbag, and it's about that time, I think. We try to do this like once every quarter or so, and we always get some good questions.
It's
Yeah,
our quarterly report.
And- yeah. This is where we kick back a little bit and go, let's talk to the audience. And our
This
first
is always
question is
sad.
from Spooky Man BR, who asks, in light of summer games done quick, topical, what RPG could you see yourself dedicating time to properly speedrunning? Nadia.
If I were to speedrun an RPG, it would definitely be one of the older tile-based things where you can really point out, like, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You know what I mean, Kat? Do you remember Brick Road? He used to do these insane, not really speedruns, but just customized runs where, like, for example, 4 white mages against the whole game. And I love shit like that. So that's the kind of content I'd be getting into. I would probably do a simpler RPG. Maybe Final Fantasy 4, since I know it really well. Or, funnily enough, I say the original Final Fantasy just because, I've never been able to really best that game. So I'd like to really just pull it apart and say, ha, screw you, I mastered you. So I would go for something like that over, say, I think in a lot of 3D games, it'd be harder for me to kind of glitch out, to study. I would definitely start with the old ones.
Eric?
I think it's a hard choice because part of me wants to say I would do a randomizer, right? And I think something like a Final Fantasy V 4-job, is it 4-job Fiesta is what they call it? Where you just get randomized 4 jobs, yeah. I think that would be really interesting to me as just a roguelike player
I'd like to try that sometime.
and doing all the different roles and then having to understand how to break the game to mitigate risk and get what you need to finish it all. I think that would be really fun. Otherwise, honestly, something like Clair Obscur is kind of appealing, if only because it has so many systems that I could see it being easy to
It could be broken.
break apart, but it's very skill dependent. So you have to nail the timings, you have to nail all of that. It kind of merges a lot of the Souls running aspects with the RPG speedrunning aspects, and I think that's
Expedition
really interesting.
33 would be the most enjoyable to actually speedrun.
Yeah, I think it'd be really interesting. And they were showing some tech on GDQ the other night where there's already some cool platforming stuff to get through to different areas faster than you should be able to and stuff like that. So I think it's a really exciting game thinking about as like a speed run. So yeah, those are my two answers. It's either FF5 randomizer or Clair Obscure.
Yeah, shout out to I think it's on my bucket list to do the Fiesta. For job
you love the
Fiesta.
Fiesta.
That might be a good side quest.
Especially now that
honestly.
I've finished Final Fantasy V. But
That would be
that would be something fun to just try. A good randomizer, a good Pokemon randomizer would be a lot of fun. I think. If I may actually pick up a Pokemon randomizer after I finish Crystal. See me in 2030 after I finish that Nuzlocke
Still screaming
run.
for Trans Lifeline. We're still doing it.
I'm now at the point during the charity stream a couple of weeks ago during the Nuzlocke run. I was actually thinking to myself, I sure hope I don't F up to the point where I'm like, well, total party kill. Thanks for joining me 10 minutes into the stream. I guess
Bye.
I guess we got to find something else to do. Anybody want to watch me draft in Magic? I don't know.
Could you just start another Nuzlocke run if that happened? I'm not exactly sure I forget how it works precisely.
I mean, well, that Nuzlocke run would definitely be over. And yes, I
Yeah.
could start a new one, but it would be like, well, anyway, I guess I'm starting at the beginning now.
Yeah, that's right. You've been like nursing that Nuzlocke run forever.
Yeah, for like 4 years now, Nadia.
Wow.
So
Am
a
I
little
that's right, I'm still
nerve-wracking at
alive.
this point.
I'm
The
still
next time
alive.
I do it, the stakes are going to be so high because we're heading into Victory Road and fighting the Elite Four. And this is where I start to feel kind of underleveled. I already feel kind of underleveled because I haven't really been grinding that much on stream. And I've been raising up, I think, 4 or 5 Pokemon. So I'm now kind of under threat of if things kind of break the wrong way, I could be in real trouble. The good news is Nadia 3, the Feraligatr,
Doing
very
work.
strong.
Doing work. Getting it
Hell
done.
yeah, that's what I'm destined to be in the Pokemon world. If I get Isekai'd into Pokemon, I'm going to be a Feraligatr, Nadia 3.
Keeps the Pidgeot. Came so close to dying. I think at one point had 2 HP. Came so close to dying. Still managing to hang in there.
Good for you, Teeps.
Who else do we have? We have the Pseudo Widow.
The pseudo
And,
Wudo. Yep.
Duck Meat the Magneton.
I thought he was like going to be like a Psyduck, but nope.
Oh my gosh. And capturing the Suicune.
Yeah.
Top 3 moment of that entire charity stream.
Oh, he caught a Suicune. Nice.
I caught a Suicune
Wow.
because I accidentally overwrote a Thunder Wave, which paralyzes and increases the chances of catching a Pokemon.
Right.
So I managed to freeze it, which was shocking.
Wow.
But it just wouldn't catch. I couldn't catch it. And then it de-thawed. It thawed. And I was like, I'm never going to catch this. It's going to die. I'm going to have to kill it. And then somehow, miraculously, with maybe a 2% chance, I got it.
Wow.
It actually locked in, and now I have a Suicune.
That's crazy. Did you name it?
Yes, I did, but we named it after we named it after the person who gave us like $1,000 during
Nice.
the stream. Yeah.
No, they live into the next stream, the next run.
Into the next stream.
Guaranteed infamy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for you.
So I now have 2 very super heavy water types, but that's not a bad thing because bulky waters are very strong in Gen 2. So
We are.
if there's any RPG that I know backwards and forwards, it's definitely Pokemon Gen 1 through 4.
Right.
Because I played those games and finished those games so many times at this point. Pokemon Red in particular, I beat more times than I can count. So,
Same.
yeah. I would also consider doing Final Fantasy VIII. That'd be kind of fun. That'd be busted. So, all right. Phyrexian, whose name I just actually understand now. It's funny how you'll start to understand the meaning of names on servers that you just looked at for a long time and go, oh, Phyrexian, I get it now.
Shoutouts to Eldrazi.
Maybe we've been attacking this whole what is an RPG question the wrong way. Let's go from the complete opposite end of the spectrum and name some games that are absolutely, positively not an RPG and explain why they're not. What is not an RPG? Poe is not an RPG.
No, not an RPG.
Oh, yes, he is. If he wants to be.
Is this like this is an Xbox? this is not an Xbox.
This is not an Xbox. You can't play Xbox.
Not an Xbox.
Final Fantasy 16 not on
Poe either.
Not an Xbox. What is not an RPG? I'll start by saying Call of Duty is not an RPG.
No skill trees?
There's perks. There's very light customization, but it is a shooter.
Yeah, I don't think
Halo, not an RPG. Yeah. Escape from Tarkov, not an RPG.
Whoa, pump
Fortnite,
the brakes there.
not an RPG.
Pump the brakes on Escape from Tarkov.
Okay.
That is
it's
a
not
game,
an RPG, and it's an extraction shooter.
But you get guns with different stats on them, right?
It's an extraction shooter.
This is starting to sound like an Adam Sandler song. O.J. Simpson, not a Jew. O.J. Simpson, not an RPG.
Thank you.
Thank you. O.J. Simpson, not an RPG. We have verified that.
So long ago, we had Len say, what is an RPG? And I thought she did a great job of defining it. And I have it saved somewhere on my phone.
Well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, he really does. Just
if I can dig it, I'm not going to do this on stream, but if I can dig it out, I'll try and find it. But I would say that definitely those games, not RPGs. Other options. What are other games that are not RPGs? Mario Kart, not an RPG. Sorry,
Super
even
Mario
though it has
Brothers?
stats, not an RPG. It's a
Super
racer.
Mario Brothers, not an RPG.
I think most of Rockstar's games are not RPGs. Outside of maybe Red Dead 2 is the closest they get to RPG
I would
status.
count Red Dead 2.
But you
Just
talk
don't wanna
about
talk about it?
Bully, you talk about table tennis, you talk about Manhunt, you talk about Grand Theft Auto. Like those are don't come at me with Grand Theft Auto is actually an RPG because there's an RP server.
Even though there's RP servers, not an
I was
RPG.
gonna say, is it like count as RP online? Because people RP online all the time on GTA.
RP has to be different from RPG because RP is I don't know what the fancy academic word is for this, but it's a invented play space by the players in it that is not intentionally designed by the developers, which is why it's cool and awesome and fun and enjoyable and makes Grand Theft Auto a much better video game. But it's also not an RPG just because people roleplay inside it. Otherwise, you can start calling like Club Penguin an RPG, you know, or you could call forums an RPG, and that doesn't make any sense. So
if everything is an RPG, nothing is.
See, I
could resurrect.
I'm gonna beef with chat momentarily and say an RPG does not need meaningful choices that impacts progression story in the world. I don't think that's a necessary part of RPGs. I think many
Final
RPGs
Fantasy
don't
doesn't have that.
Final Fantasy doesn't have that. Dragon Quest doesn't have that. Wizardry doesn't have that. So I think that's defining the bounds does help.
Sorry, John _cutting. You're
Sorry,
wrong. Thanks for your
John.
support. We really appreciate you being here. You're great.
Thank you for
But
showing
also,
up.
you're wrong.
Were you here, Eric, when I told the story about the
Pedantic around here,
Dragonheart message board and what happened to that and the RP that went out of control on the Dragonheart message board?
The Dragonheart message board RP that went out of control. Like when we say Dragonheart, is this like a dragon-focused video or like concept?
Have you ever seen Dragonheart? It's a real 90s with Sean Connery as Draco.
Somebody was doing RP around a Sean Connery movie.
No, well, okay.
Dragonheart?
Here's how it all started. I was a big fan of Dragonheart in the 90s, and when I first got on the internet, one of the first things I latched onto was a Dragonheart message board, because that's how you kind of met people back then. Was you found a website you liked,
okay,
and they almost always had a message board or a guest book, and you'd become part of the community there. So I was part of that community for a long time. Then someone decided we're going to turn it into an RP message board, and we're going to be pretending we're dragons.
Wait, I'm sorry.
And
did Sean Connery voice the dragon in this movie?
He absolutely did.
He did.
You're trying
So,
to steal my
Nuclear
gold.
Sandwich says, make Eric watch Dragonheart. Honestly, the Gonster might be preferable.
I love
That's my
Dragonheart. I will
gold.
defend
You're trying to
Dragonheart.
steal my gold.
I mean,
I'm going
yeah,
to breathe fire.
but
I'm sorry,
this
that's gonna
this
break me.
Dragonheart message board that was all about like dragons and griffins pretending to be dragons and griffins. Eventually, I lost interest because I was never really into message board RP. I came back at some point for like, hey, how the hell is my old hangout doing? It had somehow transmorgified into a BDSM roleplay message board. So somehow this message board about dragons and griffins went to
isn't
like
it one of his
real
last-
stuff
is Sean
I can't
Connery
really
dead?
mention.
Yes,
Wait,
he is.
dead? Is Sean Connery dead?
He died a couple years ago.
Oh shit!
Oh shit! Well, R.I.P.
Sorry.
Draco.
I didn't know
Yes.
that.
So yeah, that's what
He was
happened
quite
by-
old.
He was quite old.
He was quite old. He was old in the 1980s.
2020.
I think he was in his.
Okay. Well, that
I think he was in his 50s or 60s in the 80s. So
that was in the time warp. That was in the time hole that we don't talk about. So that's
in the
why I don't
90s,
remember
he
it.
was doing his. I'm in my 70s and still like, and I'm playing
Yeah, you're
villains role. So
I'm playing
in
Dragonheart.
Dragonheart.
Connery's last live-action role was the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
I always
Man,
just
poor
think about
bastard.
Celebrity Jeopardy.
A League of
Famous mothers. Oh, my time has come.
Chuck it Trebek. I'm taking all of this back to
Where
my
were we?
horde.
Okay.
The penis mightier.
So the other day, my partner goes, "But what is an RPG?" And I said, "You have unknowingly just unlocked something." Because this is literally something we've been talking about for 10 years on the podcast. She was like,
Years.
oh no. I'm like, oh yeah. On the show, we've been talking about it for 10 years now. It was the first ever episode. It was our 400th episode, I think.
We still don't have an
And-
answer.
Well, here's the thing. And we've talked about it at length in those episodes, but once upon a time, RPGs really differentiated themselves because they were the ones with the stories. And you'd be playing, I don't know, Pong or Mario Brothers or arcade games, like beat 'em up arcade games and very score-based games. And then over here were the turn-based tactics driven RPGs. And they really differentiated themselves. So you would play console and you'd be playing Mario and they'd be like, I don't play Final Fantasy. That's an RPG right there. That is an RPG.
An RPG
And
is
now,
a game
like so many
that-
games want to be movies and have epic stories. And so RPGs are differentiated much more by their mechanics, turn-based gameplay, customization. And I've always said customization forward, action kind of back. And so my partner Emily was like, Fallout RPG? And I said, yes, Fallout RPG, because the mechanics, the customization, and the choices are forward, and the actual action is way back because the action's terrible in that game.
But okay, hold on. Do you mean action back as like you don't do action, or the action is not the focus? Because
Call of Duty is action forward.
Yeah, but the shooting in Call of Duty
customization
kinda
back.
isn't fantastic.
Fallout
Sorry.
is
Dr.
customization
A.
forward, action back.
I think
It
that
forefronts
also-
the customization.
that hits friction when we start talking about games like Tower of Duraga, like Ease, like the going from the bump and grind up to the.
I don't think
actual,
Ease
like-
is very I don't think Ease is very action forward.
Oh, it is. It very much is. So is the Tales
it
series,
is.
the Tales series, and early Star Ocean very action forward, very combo focused, very much hitting some really cool arts combinations to extend combos, like the stuff you can do in Tales of Symphonia and Tales of Vesperia to get some
Which are
wacky
enabled
combo
by the
strings.
equipment that you attach to yourself.
Not necessarily. You can do a lot of really good early combos, and you have to build those up over time using your skills. So that's like you have to unlock the skills and grind and level to get to the point where you can do some really interesting combos. But then you have to mechanically
if you ask
execute.
somebody what is the best thing about Tales of Symphonia, they'd probably say the characters and the story and
That's all right.
the systems, and they would probably not say the combos.
It's more the
Whereas if
world,
you ask,
really.
what is the thing you like about Call of Duty? You'd be like, get together with my bros and playing in like some map.
See, now
You
you're
can
just
tell I
hating
play
on
Call of Duty a lot.
bros. No,
Guns,
hold
shooting, bang,
on.
bang.
Shoot in Call of Duty.
As fun as it is to poke fun at Call of Duty, I do think it's important we create the distinction there, because I do think there's meaningful distinction, and it highlights the fact that there are kind of RPGs as we've colloquially understood them, but also the mechanic of RPG has been, a lot of suits saw it and were like, oh, we could gamify the shit out of that. That's engagement, baby. We can turn that into engagement tools. And like, did Monster Hunter realistically need a lot of RPG systems? Probably not, but it works really well with them, and you stay really attached to Monster Hunter because of that. I don't think that's insidious on the part of Monster Hunter. I do think it's insidious on the part of gotcha
I think
games,
Monster Hunter
but-
used to. I'm actually going on Retronauts to talk about Monster Hunter this week. I think
cool.
OG Monster Hunter was a lot more RPG than it is now. It's definitely forefronted the action in a big way, especially in recent years. So games evolve and they change and everything. Anyway, reset the clock, turn the sign back to 0. We asked, what is an RPG? Once again.
I do have to say, before we move on, I'm disappointed that Sean Connery will not be around to voice Fahrensius in our upcoming RPG. I think that Sean Connery as Fahrensius would have been really potent, would have really moved some copies for us.
Let's get Tim Curry in here.
Because for the last 10 minutes, I've been thinking of Sean Connery saying Fahrensius in my head, and it goes
Where's my
real
$400?
good. I am King Fahrensius.
You can find some Scottish actor to do this. It'll be good.
Get another Bond actor. Yeah, you could get a Bond actor.
I will say that something that's like kicked in my mind. What is Axe of the Blood God? Well, we talk about RPGs, but in some ways we define ourselves in opposition to another part of gaming culture, which is the, no offense, adrenaline-packed, no holds bar, thrill ride, action roller coaster, shooty shoot games. And those games have their own culture, their whole own world. While I was playing Final Fantasy, I know people who were playing Counter-Strike in the 2000s. I know people who were playing Quake 3 Arena, and they have their own nostalgia and their own world. I am not part of that world. They have their own podcasts. But if Axe of the Blood God covers a different corner of the gaming world, and we're an alt gaming podcast, and I like that. So almost more important than saying, what is an RPG? What games do Axe of the Blood God covers? Like, I think it's a vibe. It's a vibe that we cover, and there's a reason we don't cover Call of Duty.
We're 10 years
Or
old.
you
We're
be
allowed
like
to- we're allowed
me.
to vibe.
You be like me and you play Call of Duty at night with your bros, and then you go to school the next day and you bring your DS in so you can play The World Ends With You between classes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be
When I was your age,
multitudinal.
we had to use the Game Boy.
Bonk says,
Bonk.
I've had this thought for a few years. Who in video games is a character we've witnessed the most of? And they mentioned Kiryu,
Yeah.
as in aging, because you see young Kiryu in the
Oh.
80s, and then you see
Interesting.
old Kiryu. So, which
didn't
character,
age
which
that
video game character has aged the most? I'm going to say Donkey Kong.
Yeah. Oh,
Literally,
that's cute.
hello, Cranky
Has he-
Kong is
okay.
old Donkey Kong.
Fair.
I don't
Fair.
know. But we've only seen 2 states of Donkey Kong then. We didn't see the awkward
There
middle
was no
years,
in between.
Yeah,
we didn't
he
get to
just
see
became old.
Donkey Kong.
He went to
in
the
the
beach
prime
that
of
made
life.
you old.
We've seen
that
Donkey
work?
Kong Jr.
That's true.
I suppose.
I mean, we've seen Baby Mario.
But is that the same Donkey Kong? I'm not getting into Donkey Kong lore. That's all made up. You can't trick me into that.
It's true.
Impa is a good.
We've seen young
get
Link and old
started.
Link.
We have seen a lot of Links and a lot of Zeldas and a
Yeah.
lot of Ganondorfs. Those 3, we've seen a lot of different age versions of those characters specifically.
Snake.
Somebody mentioned, Snake for sure.
Snake, yeah.
Because you have specifically Big Boss. Because you see Big Boss in the during the Cold War, and then old Snake in the 2000s or 2010s or whenever MGS4 is supposed to be taking place. So
I think Varric's
but I'm
a
going to
good
say,
answer,
like, in an
too.
RPG
Yeah.
context, definitely Red and Blue, who are married by the time of Pokemon Sun and Moon.
Yeah,
It's very
sure
sweet.
are.
On their honeymoon in
so
Alola.
funny. I love Pokemon.
I do
Yeah.
think Varric
Storytelling.
is a good answer from Dragon Age. We see Dragon Age 2 Varric, we see Inquisition Varric, we see Veilguard Varric. We get to see him all through the series, and it's cool to see him kind of change as the years go on. I think there are other Dragon Age 2 characters that do kind of flit in and out. Dragon Age 1 doesn't have as many recurring characters outside like Leliana, but Leliana
gonna
in
be-
1 in Inquisition was pretty cool.
Really deep cut Mega Man ZX series. The first game, Ventanale,
Gee.
they assist the characters in the next game, and they're a bit older. And I think Vent has like long hair. It's pretty cool, actually. I like it when veteran characters come in to like assist the newbies.
I do think
Chihiro
it's-
from Baldur's Gate.
Chihiro is a good shout.
Yeah.
I do think it's weird when characters kind of recur but don't really change. That's one of my main problems with 14, actually, is that I wish they would age up some of the characters at this
Daddy's
point.
did aged up.
Not really. They keep trying to be like, oh, here's Daddy Sid. And I'm like, oh, hell yeah. Here's like a 50-year-old guy still thriving. It's like, nah, he's like 28. And I'm like, what
He's
are you
not
talking
28.
about?
God damn it. He's got to be 50.
Is Sid in Final... Are we talking about the Sid in 8?
In 14.
I like 14 Sid.
Yeah, but
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
trying to
but
remember
he's-
how old
he's
he's
not
supposed
50.
to be. He's 34.
Pokemon has a lot of characters who
Who age
you don't
over
see them
time.
age up. They are like
14
older.
Sid's already one of my favorite Sids. Just going to put
hot.
that out there.
What are the ranking of Sids? I feel like 14 Sid's
There's
pretty
Sweater
up there.
Vest Sid.
16 Sid's pretty awesome. I like
So
like 16 Sid a
my
lot.
first ever review of a video game, I reviewed Final Fantasy VII. It's floating around the internet. I'm not sharing it with anybody.
Ah,
You'll have to find it. But I did say that Sid is my favorite character in that game.
In 7?
Which I thought was interesting. In 7.
he was kind of
Apparently,
funny
a
at the
high
time.
school cat liked Sid the most, and I think it was because he was foul-mouthed and cursed a lot.
He's a
That's why I
complex
like him.
character for sure. Yeah, I'm trying to think.
He is
I don't-
already on the road to being written a little more, just a little better in the remake.
10 doesn't have a great Sid. I like Sydney in 15. That's the real Sid. I don't care what the Magic the Gathering set said. Sydney is the real Sid of that game.
I
Sardin,
like 6.
there's no counting. Sid sucks, says Mr. Sardin. Sardin, I didn't say that high school cat had great taste.
Yeah.
Okay.
When you're in high school, your taste is shit. That's your
Divorce
birthright.
the part of yourself that says that a good character has to be ethically correct. Like a good character
Yeah,
can
that's
be
a
morally
big
and
thing.
ethically wrong. I
Absolutely.
I love Michael Corleone from The Godfather. That does not mean that I
Sure.
support the actions that Michael Corleone takes in The Godfather.
Right.
I mean,
Um,
no, I mean, a character just has to be compelling. You have to be invested in them, in the
Or Sid is
choices that
good.
they're making. And if you're going, what the heck are you doing? Oh my God, I'm so mad at you. You got a good character. Right? So,
Yeah, 16 Sid I think is real peak Sid. That was
he's a good Sid.
he's a very good
I'm not
Sid.
going to deny it.
Incredible voice actor.
Who was the
great
13
design.
Sid? I don't remember the 13 Sid at all.
Oh,
Was there a 13 Sid?
Who was 13 Sid?
I don't know.
Let me look.
So-
I
Google
like
a picture.
4 Sid blew himself up, but survived.
In the Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy set, there are like all the Sids. And some of the older Sids, I'm going, which Sid is this?
Bad Sid.
I do not recognize this Sid at all.
Okay, so I don't have rules about Sid, but I do have rules about Sid, and one is that Sid must be a daddy. Sid must have daddy energy.
Daddy Sid.
And
Yes.
this is 13 Sid. It's like
That's not a daddy. That's a bishy.
yeah, this is like a League of Legends character. This is
Ouch.
yeah.
Well,
Which
I
I'm
mean,
not
I
saying
think League of Legends has some
characters are
good
bad.
designs.
No, they have
Yeah.
fantastic designs. I'm just saying that's not daddy.
No, it's
Who
not
in
that.
video games is a character we've witnessed most of? Sid, obviously. We've seen 16
yeah.
He keeps showing up.
iterations of Sid.
It won't go away.
It's like the
Plus
Doctor Who-
tactics, that's 17. And Thunder God Sid. But speaking of Final Fantasy, they're in the final dungeon of FF9 now. And fun fact, so Final Fantasy 9 came out 25 years ago this week.
Wow.
Whew. And I did not beat it the first time I got it. I did not get all the way to the end because when I got to the final dungeon, I was heavily underleveled.
Ew.
And you have to fight the 4 fiends it's basically a boss rush throughout that entire dungeon. And at the time I did not like it very much because I thought the dungeon itself was not that interesting. It felt a little visually confused. I was going, why am I here? Now I like it a lot better. But I ended up dropping out because I couldn't get past the 4 fiends and finish the game. And I did not finish. I finally finished 9 and 100%ed it. I would have platinumed it if that existed in 2003. Yeah, I finished 9 in 2003. And I have a lot of fun memories of it. But watching them play it again is giving me a lot of memories. They just beat the Lich. So,
chat, can I ask an impromptu question here, chat? For folks watching, if I streamed myself playing the opening of FF9, y'all down for that?
The opening?
Yeah. Like, let's say the first couple hours. I was thinking
the opening is delightful.
I was thinking about starting it, and I was like, I should probably do that.
So up until the airship crash.
That's where my first game crapped out because my disc had so many scratches in it.
Yeah,
there
was a sale on the eShop, so I went and bought all the Pixel remasters and then every Final Fantasy up through like 10. So, because I was like, I want to have all those on my Switch, have them accessible.
I think you should finish Esper Quest first.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the answer you're going to get, Eric. You should know that now.
But I gotta go back. Why didn't you buy 12? I already own 12. I have 12 on Steam. I don't want to start a new 12 file. I got a lot of hours into that one.
Oh god, I gotta play 12. Gotta finish 12 someday. All right. Ryan says, this one's for Nadia. What's your favorite Toronto, Southern Ontario pizza chain?
Okay, so I guess here's the thing. Living with my husband, who's an American, he always wants to order Domino's or Pizza Hut. So we tend to go for that. But when I have control of the wheel, there's the chain called Pizziolio or Pizzaiolo. We always call it Pizzaiolo because we can't pronounce it. It's pretty good.
Pizzolio?
Yeah. I don't know if that's like exclusive to like Canada or whatever, but the thing is that I know that is exclusive to Southern Ontario and rapidly spreading, sorry Canada, is Pizza. Now, if I want trash pizza, the best trash
isn't that in Scott Pilgrim?
In the world.
You want to go to Pizza?
It absolutely is. Yeah. It's the thing I love about Pizza is if you want the stupidest toppings on earth, they got you covered. So I will always defend them for that. And it's just, their pizza tastes good when you're drunk or high at like 3 in the morning. Nobody's open at 3 in the morning except for Pizza. So you're getting Pizza. So I'm going to go to bat for Pizza. Is Pizza just Little Caesars? A little different. I feel like it tastes different. It's not quite as grab and go, but if you want like big ass slices for lunch, that's where you go. The most bland crust possible. Yes, but it has the best garlic dipping sauce in the world.
Oh, so it's like Papa John's.
Yeah. But I don't think I've ever had
garlic butter sauce. The only reason you go there.
It's not even buttery. It's like just thick. It's a thick garlic sauce. It's really good.
Do you remember that restaurant we met up at when I was passing through Toronto on the way home in January?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't know that was a cafeteria. I thought that was a restaurant. But
that was like the most disgusting cafeteria I've ever been in. Oh my god.
I don't go to many restaurants in that area. What's that?
I don't even know. We went there because I was going, I don't know, it's near the airport.
Oh.
I'm feeling, I had terrible acid reflux. Mm-hmm. And so I could barely eat. And I was coming back from Portugal, so I was really disoriented. And Nadia and I were sitting in this grease bucket that had a giant line, and eating this terrible fries. And I was like, there's a shawarma place right next door. Why didn't I just go there? Oh, God.
They had shawarma there too.
I was just trying to find a place to meet up that was comfy. We probably should have just met in the airport. But
That probably would have been the best bet.
yeah. Anyway.
Sorry, Kat.
Memories. I was really feeling ill that time too.
We got better food than that in the city.
That's my first Toronto memory. That's the first time I've ever been set foot anywhere near Toronto.
I feel like territory around airports don't count in terms of tourism.
No, 100%.
Airports are.
You're not in a
wastelands.
city. You're not in a city unless you have exited the radius around the airport.
Technically,
So
we're in
I've
Mississauga,
I've been to the Denver airport many times, not been to Denver.
I do have to say, shout outs to the Austin airport. They put a lot of local Austin places in there, a lot of local food, local stuff in there. So if you've ever been to the Austin airport, you're always going to have good food there. There's lots of great taco places. I think the peach tortilla is still in there. I love the peach tortilla. They have a Toy Joy branch in there because that's how weird the airport is. They are starting to turn it into the same airport that everybody else has because they're like expanding it so they can put in more shopping mall stuff and all that. It's going to suck. But it's been a great time while we've had it to get really good breakfast tacos in the morning.
Can I share an Austin airport memory, Eric?
Absolutely. If it's a good one.
So I'm a vegetarian. Pescatarian, actually.
Well, you can get the potato and cheese breakfast burrito. They got that.
I was there on a work trip. This was 2014, and I'm there with Jeff Green, formerly of OneUp.com, and we go to this restaurant that's like a barbecue place. And I say, do you have, I don't know, anything that's not meat? No. Do you have any bread? No.
Oh.
No mac and cheese? No. It's just meat.
That's weird.
That's literally only meat. So I just said, I guess I'll order a beer. 3 beers in. I'm really drunk and crying and talking to Jeff Green about whether or not I should stay in the games media. Because at the time, I had a job offer in place to go to US Gamer, but I didn't know if I wanted to stay in the media or go take a job in the industry and try to pursue something like that. And it was very drunk. I was very drunk because I was on an empty stomach.
Uh-oh.
Because I had not had any food at that freaking barbecue joint.
It's like when you rest in Baldur's Gate 3, but you only have beer, and so everybody just has to drink all the beer and go to sleep. Yeah. Everyone's delirious.
Anyway, spoiler alert, I did stay in the games media. I did take that US Gamer job. I ended up running US Gamer. I hired Eric, and I started Axe of the Blood Gods, so everything worked out really well.
Yeah, people often hire me after 3 beers. That's really weird, though, because I would say you would be surprised you go to most barbecue places in Austin. They're going to have a pretty good side selection of coleslaw, potato salad, mac and cheese, baked beans. The baked beans might occasionally have barbecue like bits in there. They sometimes do that, but usually I know like vegetarian friends who have gone to barbecue places are like, yeah, I just order a bunch of sides. And usually it's often cheaper than the meat because the meat is the really expensive part. Like brisket by the pound is expensive.
I'm hungry, man.
Yeah, no, I'm making myself hungry. I'm probably getting barbecue in a moment here. So
it's a really quick lightning round. Best pizza joints in the Bay Area. Zachary's, great Chicago deep dish. Cheeseboard, which it's a communist, and I'm not joking. It's literally a communist pizza chain that has 1 pizza a day, and you get that pizza. You don't get to choose, but it's a really good pizza.
No pizza for you.
And Marley G's, which is an Alameda joint, and it's very local, and it has New Jersey style pizza, which I really enjoy. And best pizza places in Minneapolis, definitely I like the Pizza Luce Pizza Pub delicious. Eric, best pizza place in Austin, go.
That's a really hard one. There's some strong opinions. I personally fall on the Via 313 side. That's I think a deep dish style pizza, but it's a really, really good one. A lot of people also like, I think it's Jets is the other one that's pretty popular around here. There's a place kind of up in the northern area that I've been ordering from lately. That's Curry Pizza House, and they got some really good stuff. It's curry pizza. It's very good. But yeah, I think Via 313 is kind of the place that most Austin people think of right away. It's become a bit of a established brand down here. So
okay, Zalesium asks, 13 Sentinels had non-active party members act as a defensive line during missions. What other RPGs involve making use of characters who are not in your party? These are my favorite kinds of RPGs, by the way. The one where you feel like you actually have a full party and they're all contributing in interesting ways. The trick is giving players a sense of choice, but also making all of the characters feel like they're not just sitting in camp.
I think the best game that I played for that is Dragon Quest Builders 2, where you have towns that characters like live in when you build them. Like you build a pub, you're going to use the pub at night. You'll build beds, you're going to use the beds. Use a toilet, they're going to use the toilet. If you don't build them a toilet, they get really desperate. So it's kind of funny to make them like wait. And when you go out to gather resources, to kill monsters or whatever, you have like this huge pick of characters that you can go with, that can go with you, and they know how to fight, they know how to use magic. If you have like a saber cat, you can ride on it and it attacks as well. Like you can get monsters in your party as well as characters. The latest game that does this is Fantasy Life I, where you collect characters, they can go on trips with you, and you can kind of free them from a curse that turns them into yokai. It's the same principle. So those are two games that come to mind immediately.
Fantasy Life I is so stinking good. It's really something. Keep thinking about that. I do think Suikoden is something I think of when I think of games that utilize and the Suikoden spin-offs. I really like was the Eiyuden Rising Chronicles or something where you were kind of building up the shops. Yeah, that was a great game. I love any RPG where you have kind of a small party, maybe even just one core party, but you're building a town. I've been playing Bravely Default on my Switch, and I love having the little town that I can pop into and be like, I'm gonna invest in different stuff and have it build up over time. I think that is honestly one of the coolest things you can do in an RPG. So I really love any RPG that gives you the chance to kind of build a little town that becomes your hub, that like offers you all the things you need, but also ends up acting as kind of a place for everybody to go lay their heads at the end of the day and all that. I think otherwise I think one of the cooler things about maybe excluding party members is you have really cool moments where every party member is involved. There's a game that's not very good called Greedfall, but it has one really, really cool moment where near the end of the game, you get into a big battle. It's like the final battle moment. And instead of just having your core party and selecting your party members, it's everybody. Everybody's fighting at the same time. And that is Octopath Traveler does some similar stuff too, where they throw that. And that is one of the coolest feelings in a game. And so in some ways, I think the exclusion of party members can lead to really cool moments of everybody's here, everybody's fighting, and it makes those battles feel much grander. I do think Octopath Traveler actually probably is one I would think of.
Cooney too did this as well. It's not a great game, but I did like having other characters. I remember one team of cat girls named Sisters of No Mercy, and I thought that was really funny.
I like in Dragon Age Inquisition, you can send characters on side missions to gather things, so it doesn't feel like they're just sitting there in camp. They're off busy doing their own thing.
Blackwall's walking out there again. Got to go gather herbs and stuff. He's in his full armor. I'm on herb gathering duty again.
Don't you have anything else?
Final Fantasy X, obviously, you can swap characters in and out of your party.
I love that.
The fast swap is really good.
Actually, probably my single favorite thing about Final Fantasy X is the way that you can seamlessly swap characters in and out of the party. It makes it feel like the whole gang is there.
You don't like it when people die in unit dances?
No.
You don't like Blitzball? You don't like
I love
Kimari. Oh, Kimari, little Ronso, and they beat up on him. Like, come on. Oh, it's...
No, I don't like
poor
Kamari.
What if I played 10 again? 9 stream is over. We're playing 10.
We're very suggestive.
I like that a
generation, aren't we?
Unicorn Overlord, you have the entire party. That I guess that doesn't count as that's a tactics RPG. I don't want to rag on Final
counts.
Fantasy VII Rebirth too much, but it upset me that there were many times where it just forced me into a party configuration I wasn't very comfortable with.
Yeah, at the end it does that, doesn't it?
The whole game.
Yeah.
I kind of
Yeah,
like
you're right,
that
yeah.
in moderation, because Chained Echoes does that a few times, but I think it really works in Chained Echoes. Because there are times where it literally does the FF6 party split, because there's the infamous moment in 6 where, I love that I can talk about this now, where the party kind of splits off and you have to do everybody's story one by one in whatever order you choose to.
Right.
And
Yeah.
Chained Echoes does the exact same thing, and I think it really works for both games. I think that can be a really effective storytelling method to build that sort of ensemble cast up.
You're right.
Yeah.
Fire Emblem. We haven't talked about Fire Emblem.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Fire Emblem.
Yeah, I love recruiting
Fire Emblem's
characters
a good
in
one.
Fire Emblem and having a big army. And then Three Houses has all the stuff where you're doing all the personality and like raising stuff back home. Oh, I love that stuff.
I like Baldur's Gate 3. There were definitely characters who sat in my camp all game and didn't do anything.
Gale.
Like
Oh no,
Gale,
so good.
Halson,
What?
I never used
Will.
Gale.
Who was casting spells?
I
in
didn't
your
use
party?
Asterion until the very end because I was very girl
I
squad.
loved Asterion.
But I got to Act 3, and I was like, well, I'm kind of curious about Asterion. And the nice thing was, he levels up with you, so you don't have to
Yeah.
grind or anything. He doesn't feel
Yeah.
useless. So I was able to and I had some really good equipment already, and I quickly set him up. And then I was doing his kind of end game quest, and I was like, oh, Asterion's great. Okay, he gets to be in the girl squad now. So
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
that point,
Happy about
Asterion
that.
became a regular in my party.
You'd be like, oh, hooray, the girl squad. And he'd be an asshole
Yes.
about it, but he'd secretly be happy about it.
He'd do the Let's Go Girls.
Go
Yeah.
girls. Da, 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 da.
Asterion is mechanically disgusting in Baldur's Gate 3 if you give him dual crossbows and basically give him like the John Woo build of like diving around shooting crossbows at everybody. He can just pick off individual targets like nobody's business. I think like
It's Cobb.
my main party throughout most of the game, because I was a warlock, and so I had Shadowheart, Gale, and then usually Karlach or Lae'zel, depending on who I needed as the beefy frontliner. I do think both of those characters are pretty good. Lae'zel's not the best by endgame. But I don't... Gale, you need spells. Magic in D&D is so important. You gotta cast Fireball.
It is. My character was a warlock, so I felt like I had the magic side of things pretty much on
I
lock.
was too busy Eldritch blasting everything to cast other spells.
Yeah,
I'm
there's
wary
that.
of spoilers, so I'll just say I had Redacted in my party, and I was using a lot of their spells as well, specifically Blizzard, which my favorite tactic was at the beginning of a fight. I would set everybody up, and I would cast Blizzard, and I would make the entire arena full of ice, and
Nice.
I would just watch everybody
Everyone
slip
fall.
and slide around like dorks.
I like
it's
doing that with
really
the grease.
funny. You could shoot lightning, you could shoot fire, but instead you're basically putting everybody on like a fail comp montage of like slipping and falling on ice constantly. And just being
Here's the
embarrassed.
boss fight. The final boss fight for Asterian's quest, there's this big staircase, and I'm not joking. I stood at the top of that staircase. The bottom of it was just fire, oil, and ice, and I watched all of these vampires and everybody slipping and going, ah!
I'm an ancient
Well, I stood
evil,
up
you can't
there
defeat me.
and threw stuff. It was the stupidest thing I've ever
I
seen,
am
but
the
I loved
ancient
it.
vampire. You can't stop.
Wah!
Can you imagine like 1,000-year-old Edward Cullen trying to get up those stairs?
They
Coccyx.
could not get up those stairs.
You slip and
pretty good,
fall on
actually.
ice, and
That's
then
good
you're
strategy.
on fire. Can you imagine slipping on ice into fire? That's embarrassing for everybody involved.
That's really getting owned.
That's what Fahrensius is going to do to you in Final Fantasy 17.
If you want D&D flavor, that is D&D flavor right there.
That really
That's
is.
just perfect.
That's us trying to like climb the
And we're rolling, and they slip again. Okay, what are you doing?
They slipped again.
Oh,
And they're lying prone.
My tailbone.
Freaking Gortosh in Baldur's Gate 3, same deal. Just he was on the ground on fire. He didn't get to do anything in his fight against
I
me.
let Karlog go to town on Gortosh. That dude was.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't pretty.
Oh my gosh. The no spoilers, but the monologue after that is just heartbreaking.
Peak.
Holy
Samantha Bear
smoke.
put in the work on that one. They were incredible.
Killed it. Okay. Last question. This one's from Metal Merce. They actually had two questions. And so the first one, they want to know the origin of Poe's name.
Everyone asks this. It's really funny because like I was trying to name him for a long time and I went through a bunch of different names. He was Nines for like a month or two because I was really into Nier Automata at the time. And also because because 9S, like
9S.
Nines is his nickname.
Probably Nines.
But then,
Sure
then
thing.
also like 9 lives for a cat. I was like, that's kind of fun. But it wasn't. I like to joke. It felt like I was yelling in German at my cat all the time because I'd be like nines. So I went through a couple other names, and then my sister actually suggested Poe, and I don't remember where it came from. I think she just liked the name, like the sound of it. And I thought about it, and I was like, you know, it's nicknameable because you can call him Po Boy, you can call him Po Bear. You gotta have a good nickname for the cat. But then also, you have the author, the singer, the ghost fairy from Zelda. You have the panda from Kung Fu Panda. There's just a lot of good stuff named Poe, and so I was like, really good things named Poe.
Name.
I should also name my cat Poe because he's a good thing. So, yeah, it just worked out. And it's a really cute name. It's stuck for him. Also, I think spiritually, vibes-wise, the little trickster fairy from Zelda makes the most sense because he is a little rascal who follows me everywhere. So, yeah, I think that fits.
They also want to know, just throwing this out there for potential content, since there's a book and now MTG side quests, what do the hosts feel about a board game side quest?
I'd be down. There's a couple board games we could do. I mean, there's Gloomhaven, feels like the most obvious one, right?
Oh, yeah. Would we pick a game, like a big 4X board game, or would we pick several games and play them over a span of time?
I think a really fun one would be to do a legacy game, like a Pandemic Legacy or a Risk Legacy or something like that, to where it was evolving every week, and so every time we had a play session, it changed. I think that would be really interesting.
So, fun fact about me, I grew up, and I guess you did too, Kat, in a time when board games were something you bought for like a quarter at a garage sale, and growing up, I played a lot of like Teacher's Quiz and just the real simple stuff. My family was not a board game family. We did not have the patience for it. The few times I got my father to play Monopoly with us, like we'd get to the point where he'd just pretend to sneeze and flip the board instead of saying, I don't want to play anymore. So I did not grow up with a lot of board games, and I suppose this would be kind of a learning equivalent for a learning opportunity for me.
I grew up with a lot of board games. We played a lot of Blockus when I was younger. That was a pretty consistent choice for us. Played a lot of Pictionary, Scrabble, Trivial Pursuit.
I love Pictionary.
Really just any of the kind of what you would consider the standard board games that you would find at a party of 4 to 6. And we also played a lot of card games growing up. So that's probably where I got my love of cards from, was playing Liverpool Rummy when I was maybe like 6. So I already knew how like runs worked and things like that. And I was playing poker by like 6th grade. So,
Oh, you do live in Texas.
Yeah, well, I just that always itched my brain, right? Was this sort of like strategy and risk mitigation and mindset around card games and strategy games, and so I discovered that pretty early on. But I've never dove in, whatever. I never dived into the more modern board game landscape that's like much more wide, but also much more hardcore, and there's a lot of mechanics, and they're so evolved at this point. Root is one that I always thought looked really cool. There's a lot of like interesting strategy type games. Even Catan. I've never played Catan, so
Yeah, I've never played that either.
yeah, I know a lot of people like Catan these days. So Mahjong is basically rummy with extra rules. You say that, and then I try to play Mahjong on Clubhouse games, and I just get smacked around. I'm so bad at Mahjong. And Shogi. I don't understand Shogi yet.
Yeah, I don't understand Mahjong or Shogi.
It's trying to remember how chess works, but also how it doesn't work because it's not chess is really it breaks my brain. Yeah, Root is sick. Playing a lot of Arc Nova, says Curran. Arkham Horror, the card game, says Criminal Justice. Drew RWX is saying Betrayal at House on the Hill. Cosmic Encounter, Criminal Justice says. I think we should just play Blockus, man. Blockus is sick. I'll run Blockus.
I never played Blockus.
Yeah, it's good. It's just Tetrominoes, putting them on the board. And you gotta connect them, but only at the corners. And then you try to get all your pieces out. It's really fun.
I have a lot of friends who are huge board game nerds, to the point where they have giant meetups and they have massive collections, and they go to Gen Con. And our mutual friend Shivam is known for his massive board game collection and playing a lot of board games with friends and everything. And I think that's cool. I think that I like board games that generally take less than an hour and usually involve playing cards. And I don't mean Magic the Gathering. I mean like Sushi Go. Or I enjoyed Sushi Go is a game where you just get little sushis and you try and build a hand, and then you get points. Easy.
I like that. That sounds fun.
And it can be different combinations of sushi. And in a way, it's drafting. It's basically you're drafting sushi cards.
Is it like a run scoring game where you kind of try to get like pairs, straights, that sort of thing?
Basically. I like that game. I like this one game that's kind of almost like a puzzle game where you're kind of making they're cats in yarn, I think. Very cute.
I like that.
I liked I like the bird game.
Oh, yeah.
You're talking about what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That's a really good game.
I can picture the cover on my head of the little like bird.
I played the dragon variant of it.
Yeah.
I played Wormspan and Wingspan. I think Wingspan's super fun.
I haven't played them.
Wormspan.
There's a lot happening in them, but it's surprisingly easy to learn.
You meant WYRM, worm. I was thinking WOR.
Because of dragons.
I was thinking it was just a bunch of worms, and I was like, hell yeah.
Creepy little worm game.
Get Sandworm from Dune in there.
I'd love to try Gloomhaven sometime.
Yeah, that's pretty high on my list.
Long ago, I played, I think it's called Twilight Imperium or Imperium Galactica or something like that.
Big board, lots of mechanics.
Big 4X game. I didn't really understand it. I was playing it on a message board, and we were taking our turns, and the game lasted for months, and I had no idea what was going on. But it would be kind of fascinating just to have the game set up and to have multiple sessions where we're all playing together, because that's a span of time. But I think my favorite board game ever is actually Battlestar Galactica. I love a good werewolf social interaction kind of game. And actually, and I love being the Cylon. I do.
Kat, your answer for everything can't be Battlestar Galactica.
Sure. At least I didn't say Babylon 5.
You're right. You're right. It's the option select.
The BSG board game rules. And also, how often do I bring up BSG? Just because I'm building a Magic deck because a ship happens to look like the Battlestar Galactica. You know?
Just because I so happen to bring up BSG a lot.
Look, no, I don't. Chat, how often do I bring up
Chat,
Battlestar
come
Galactica on this
I
podcast?
think you're more prone to bringing up Babylon 5, right?
Very much so. Very much so.
so
You're
there's a
just conflating the two.
They're basically the same
Eric.
thing, right?
They're very different
sure.
shows.
They're like essentially the same thing.
No, they're not. They could not be more different.
Yeah, thank you, Corinne. Thank you. Yeah,
Just because they happen to be in space.
Space.
The 2005 Battlestar Galactica reboot was a very good show, but also very flawed, as Ron Moore shows tend to be. Okay. Thank you so much for all of your mailbag questions. We're going to be heading on to random encounters and talking a bit about Yoshi P's comments on Final Fantasy 17 ? Potential battle system right after this. Okay, it's time now for a series of random encounters. Cyberpunk Edgerunners 2 Season 2 is confirmed, and yes, it will be sadder and bloodier. We got our first teaser. Eric, do you have any thoughts?
It's great. I forgot to check and see if it's still Studio Trigger that's on this one. I assume it is. But I cannot wait for this. It sounds like they're also doing this the right way, which means it is a new season, new characters, and not trying to continue anything from Season 1, which is the right choice. If you've seen Season 1, you know that that would be very difficult to do, and I'm glad that they're just kind of doing more stories in Night City. I really think that this is the right direction for Cyberpunk moving forward, and I'm thrilled. Cyberpunk Edgerunners is honestly one of the best anime series of the last 5 years, and you should definitely go watch it. It is still Trigger. That's awesome. Trigger did so well on that.
I did love Cyberpunk, so I wouldn't mind watching Edgerunners.
You haven't seen Edgerunners yet?
Haven't seen Edgerunners.
You need to watch. It's
Over here.
that good?
The crazy part, one of the craziest things it does is it uses the soundtrack of the game, and it makes a bunch of songs that, I'm sorry, would probably be fairly mundane songs otherwise. Not bad, but just not remarkable songs, and transforms them and puts them in context in Night City in a way that they were not in the game, because when you're in the game, you're not listening to the radio ever or anything like that, but the way they're used in Edgerunners makes them shine, and it's so good, and it makes that city and that world feel realized in a way that it made going back to Cyberpunk even better, because I was like, that's that place, that's that thing, there's all these things, this is a world, it's a living world. It's so good. It's excellent.
Monster Hunter Wilds will try to cut down on the arch-tempered FOMO with a new update. This is a story that Eric wrote for IGN.com. Eric, can you explain that one for us really quickly?
Yeah, they're making the arch-tempered hunts in Monster Hunter Wilds no longer time-based, at least the next two. I think it's arch-tempered Raydao and Uthduna are not going to be time-limited quests, but they're going to be permanent quests, and they're saying they're considering about making other time-limited quests permanent as well. I think this is just a response to the community was... Look, the Monster Hunter Wilds community complains a lot, and it's to the point where... It got excessive enough that Capcom was putting statements out there saying, like, hey, please stop harassing our devs. There was a cancellation of a lecture that was supposed to happen that was not confirmed or said to be because of harassment, but it did arrive like a couple days after that harassment statement came out. So I would say that in a lot of cases, some of the griping about Monster Hunter Wilds has been a little over the top. It definitely still has some performance issues. There's no dancing around that, and Capcom's obviously working to try and fix that. But I do like that this feels like a listening to the community moment of, yeah, why make these monsters time limited? Let's not do FOMO. Let's let people bounce back in and hunt them at their leisure.
Subnautica 2 was in the news this week as the leadership team was ousted and they have subsequently sued Krafton. Krafton is accusing them of abandoning the project. It's a wild story. Yes. One of the main lead developers has been focused on movies recently. There is a $250 million payout that's in play. There's a lot of moving parts in the story. Bloomberg has been reporting it pretty thoroughly. Crazy story, and genuinely heartbreaking to me, because Subnautica is a phenomenal game if you've never played it. One of the most evocative survival games. I don't normally like survival games all that much, but going under the feelings of being above the water, under the water, going further and further and further down into the ocean. It has big Sea Lab vibes. If you ever watched Sea Lab.
Yes.
Sea Lab. Do, do, do.
I haven't played
And you
it,
can build your own underwater base, and it's so cool. And you slowly but surely get this bigger and bigger submarine. So you initially start, you're just like a diver, but then eventually get a submarine, and the submarine keeps bigger. I had an aquarium attached to my submarine for some reason, and then I could get food. I had some fish that I kept in there as snacky snacks. It was so goofy, but I loved it.
Instead of
Great
chips, more
game.
fish.
Have either of you played Subnautica?
I have
No.
not, but it sounds like something I'd love.
I'm terrified of that depth of water. We don't need to go down there. That's not for us.
Oh, yes, we do. Ooh,
No,
we need to go as far down as we can.
There's nothing down there for us. We can't
There's
breathe down
friends
there.
down there. There's
That's-
friends, Eric.
There's natural order saying that we don't belong down there and thus should not venture down there.
And yet we fly in the air like idiots.
See, I'm cool with going up a mountain because there's still air up there. Like, that's fine. If we go up in the sky, that's okay. If we go into space, maybe we bring our own air, but that's still probably like a bad idea until we figure that part out. But no, down in the depths, that's where the untold horrors await. We don't need to worry about that. Whatever they're doing down there, we don't need to get involved. They're
Don't
keeping
you like
it.
to read about like sea life, like interacting with people, like
Yeah, I
looking
love
at
to learn.
orcas and
Okay, to be clear, if we're learning about them, if we're sending like some drones down there to take pictures of the fish, cool. We don't need to go down there. James Cameron, get out of the Mariana Trench. You don't need to go that deep.
No, he needs to go, man. He needs to see what's down there. I understand James Cameron on a spiritual level.
No.
So I played Subnautica Below Zero, and that one it's a smaller, kind of more contained version of the original Subnautica, but with more ice, I suppose, which I always like. And the thing that I find so cool in that game is you initially start in space, then you descend down to the planet, and then you're running as wreckage and bombs and everything are falling all around you, and then you jump into the water, and you start at the top, and initially you're in the shallows, and you have your tiny little pod that you're going around, and you can only go in a small radius because you only have X amount of air. But as the game keeps progressing, slowly but surely, your radius of exploration is widening out, both above and below. And there's so many interesting secrets to find. Exploring the abandoned outposts under the water and finding out what the heck happened to all these people. There's a mystery to it all that's really compelling. If you haven't played Subnautica, you gotta play Subnautica. It's gorgeous. It is a beautiful game. So I was so excited for Subnautica 2, which is going to be multiplayer. And now it seems like it's gone to heck. Like, the community is boycotting it. It's a real bummer. It's a huge bummer. Yeah. Speaking of a shame, James Carter Cathcart, voice of Pokemon's James, Meowth, Professor Oak, and more, the OG, has died. He was 71, throat cancer, extremely tragic. All those voices, iconic. Those were the original voices. They were recast at a certain point. I don't know if he was still in it much later, but the original Team Rocket James voice,
it's iconic.
Very close to my heart. Yeah, it's really good. Also, the OG Gary Oak voice.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Tell you later.
Gary was here. Ash is a loser.
There's a park, High Park in Toronto that has a sign. I don't know if it's still there, but someone actually wrote, "Gary was here, Ash is a loser," on this sign, and I hope it's still there.
And finally, happy 25th anniversary to Final Fantasy IX, which released on July 7th, 2000. The GDQ Final Fantasy IX run was successfully completed. I did finish it long ago, as I already mentioned. Final Fantasy IX. I bought it when it came out. Summer of Adventure. Go listen to our Summer of Adventure episode sometime. And I initially did not vibe with it. I didn't know if I liked the character, the kind of the weird, super deformed chibi characters. It was much slower than Final Fantasy VIII.
That was.
I didn't know if I liked the battle music as much.
You're
but
so right.
over
You're
time,
so valid. Nope. Just pump the brakes now.
there are a lot of people. There are a lot of people who did not like 9 when it came out, and it felt like it kind of came and went. And then, but now 9 is a beloved classic. Magic's lead designer loves it. That's why Vivi is the most powerful character in that entire set. Vivi, top 5 Final Fantasy character ever, period. No, probably top 3, I think. He's in the pantheon of Final Fantasy characters, as it were. Oh man, we should do a pantheon of Final Fantasy characters. Okay. He's in the pantheon. Vivi's in the pantheon.
Automatic entry.
And automatic entry. And there's so much to do in there. It's such a vibe. And Final Fantasy, I'm sorry, Eric, 10's great, but Final Fantasy was just never the same after 9. There is a reason that Sakaguchi loves this one. It was his swan song with the series. After 9, Square changed forever. It was the end of an era. That was it. So
9 was also, if I'm not mistaken, developed in Hawaii, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a big part of it because Sakaguchi was splitting his time working on Spirits Within and also working on 9. I remember at the time when they were showing 9 thinking, holy cow, how are they making these games so fast? Because 8 came out in 99, 9 came out in 2000, less than a year later.
And 10 wasn't
That's
too
crazy.
long after either. Yeah.
They were, as I recall, they put in like an initiative where they said they were going to work on 8, 9, and 10 like pretty much together, and so they really want to get those out, bang, bang, bang.
So, any 9 memories, Nadia? You didn't play it until Blood God.
No, but as Pete Wells says here, 9 was the first game to make me cry at the end. I think it has a very sweet ending. I love that cinema with Zidane and Garnet. Very sweet, especially when she like just kind of like punches him and he just shrugs like, yeah, what are you gonna do? I am who I am.
It's much faster now, which helps a lot. The cast really buoys it up. There is a vibe to those particular Final Fantasy games where there's so much to find and do all the time. I didn't think the card game was as strong as 8. Chocobo Hot and Cold was kind of annoying.
I forgot they had a card game.
It was cool fighting Ultima Weapon. But I do like the existential dread of that game. Of Vivi going, who the heck am I? Am I even alive? This is good stuff.
It was a good game. Overall, a solid Final Fantasy game. Not my favorite, but I can understand why, if you grew up with it, why it would be your favorite.
Vivi's peak.
That said, I don't think I could have stood playing it like on the PlayStation. Just way too slow. I don't know how people did it back then.
I thought it was slow even then, in 2000.
Yeah.
Eric, did you ever play Final Fantasy 9? Because you seem to be like,
I rented it from
I don't
the
like
video
it very
store.
much.
I rented it from the video store. I played up through that opening section. I think probably up through the airship crash. And I remember thinking it was really cool conceptually, but like you said, the speed was not there. I didn't love the character designs. The music wasn't quite hitting for me. Everything that I think worked for me in 10 was not firing for me in 9, because 10 was snappier. 10 had a combat system that I will say ATB is very confusing if you've never played a role-playing game before. It's because you're sitting there going through menus and like, oh, what does this do? And how do I shoot a fireball? And then it's like, oh, I'm getting punched in the mouth while I'm trying to figure out if I can shoot a fireball. And if you're like 7, that's just a lot to like put on the mental RAM, to put on the brain stack.
Yeah, when I was 7, I was playing Mario.
Yeah.
Never mind RPGs.
And so I just didn't vibe with it for a number of reasons. That's kind of why I want to go back, because I think I have really liked the designs of the characters, some of the characters since then. Vivi, is it Black Waltz is in the new set. I really like him. Kuja's pretty sick. Queen Brana's got like some crazy energy that I think is it's really some of the other random characters in that party, and also the way that Zidane and Adelbert and them, is it Adelbert? Is that his name? No, Steiner. Steiner is his name.
Steiner,
Where did you get
Adelbert.
Adelbert from?
Isn't that his first name? Isn't his first name Adelbert?
Could be.
His name is Adelbert Steiner.
Oh,
Yeah,
there you
yeah.
go, Eric. Good for you.
Yeah, no, I just know him from the
unneeded
card
here.
in Magic the Gathering. But
Oh,
he's
okay.
he's kind of a
We're all
goofy looking dude that just never really stuck with me. I don't know. I feel like early Final Fantasies always had just one or two dudes who were kind of present, and I think that's why 10 really sticks out to me. Is it's a very cohesive cast. Like everybody's a major player in the story of that game, and is like important to what is being done in that game, versus like you have a lot of goofy guys in early Final Fantasies. I think if you're doing a Final Fantasy 6 and you have a really wide party, that's really great. But if you're doing like a really concentrated story around a party, but then you have like 3 characters who are just kind of there because they did a thing one time and you moved on, I don't know. It doesn't work as well for me.
I will say
Okay.
one. Oh, sorry, Garrett. Go ahead.
Kimari rules.
No, you go ahead, Nadia.
I was just gonna say, Eric, if you do nothing else with Final Fantasy IX, give that soundtrack a reevaluation because,
Okay,
in my
yeah,
opinion,
yeah.
it's one of Uematsu's best. And
Very much
going
so.
from Final Fantasy VII, which was like, okay, he had great tunes, but it was all MIDI, going to like the variations that you hear in Final Fantasy IX are incredible. Just like Roses of May is just piano. That's all it is.
I'll give that a
gorgeous.
shot for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Steiner is one of the funniest characters in Final Fantasy history, full stop. The comedy skits, especially between Steiner and Vivi, but really with Steiner and everybody, so good. Quina also just
And it's great.
want to talk about like
I do
our
like
obsession with
Quina.
weird little guys.
Yeah.
Quina, first of all, non-binary icon. Second of all,
Queen is just making
Just-
frogs, just doing frog stuff.
Quina just loves frogs.
Yeah.
Just loves eating.
Eating
just
frogs,
a
too.
garbage monster
I
thing.
love their theme too. Just that.
Yeah.
I
So
wish there was
unusual.
green. I wish there was like green in that deck I'm building right now where I eat artifacts and magic, because then I would put Quina in there so I could also eat frogs.
Heck
that,
yeah.
That would be crucial.
I took Quina out of Chatterfang, and I don't know if I can forgive myself. But Final Fantasy IX also might be the best written Final Fantasy. In the
I don't know
sense
about
of, well, it's moment to moment. Its active time events are so good that I actually want to watch them. Normally, I'm one to skip those little interstitial scenes. I love every single one of them. They're all fantastic. The writing feels so lively and down to earth. The characterization is really strong in FF9 in a way that I think a lot of Final Fantasy gets lost in high characters are monologuing and you start to lose the characterization a little bit. 9
like monologues.
really nails the actual, you feel the characters. The characterization's excellent. So
My favorite written Final Fantasy so far is probably 6. Like I think there is
6 is so
something.
good.
Well, I think there's something to 6 uses just the amount of words that you need, but then also incorporates action. And I think limitation helped a lot there, because
It did. We'll see,
if I'm gonna levy some stuff
He's a
against some
master.
later Final Fantasies, there is too much monologuing. I love Shadowbringers, and a lot of my favorite moments in Shadowbringers are people talking at each other, but that is a lot of talking at each other. Whereas 6, I feel like there are moments that I keep thinking of, is it when you're going down the stairs and you're kind of having the flashbacks to
Oh,
Setzer's
when you're getting the
past?
Falcon.
Oh,
That was
beautiful.
so good.
So well done. And that is writing. That's narrative design. That's thinking about how do we communicate the story in an interesting way that's going to come across very well. And I think like the writing, the pacing, everything in that game is just pitch perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was one of my
so-
first RPGs. I was spoiled.
So you take that 9, you
Big
flip it
appreci-
upside down, and now we're on board.
Your answer's right.
big appreciation for 9. Seriously, I think it is one of the it really is peak Final Fantasy in many respects. I don't know that it's the best Final Fantasy. I can't remember if we put it in the Pantheon. I'm pretty sure we did. And but it is it's really memorable. It's really memorable.
It
If you haven't played it, go play it. Go watch the speed run. It's very good. All right. I don't think they managed to open their VB, alas. Speaking of Final Fantasy, one of the so Anime Expo is happening over the weekend, and Yoshi P was on site. So some sites, including Anime News Network, interviewed him. And turn-based Final Fantasy once again in the conversation because of Claire Obscure Expedition 33. Here's what Yoshida had to say. With this question of turn-based versus action, it tends to isolate the gameplay to just the battle system. That doesn't take into account what kind of game the creators want to deliver to players. For example, based on a certain graphical quality we want to present to our players or the narrative we want to deliver to our players, it relates to how we set up the game systems around it. This includes the battle system, game design, and gameplay feel. It's not a clear-cut answer whether it will become all turn-based or if it's going to become more action-based. He added, I'm not necessarily going to be on Final Fantasy 17, so also we don't want to obstruct or limit our future director or whomever will be producing the games like 17 or even 18. We don't want to put them on a rail. So what he is saying is, in my opinion, what he is saying is, stop flattening Final Fantasy to just the battle system. There's a lot more to it than that.
Also, please stop talking to us about Claire Obscure.
Yeah. Number one, stop asking me. I'm not working on that shit, or at least I'm not publicly saying that I'm working on that shit, so stop asking me about it. That's the Harada, don't ask me for shit. Number two, stop comparing us to Claire Obscure. Claire Obscure is very clearly a very different game, and also I would like to point out at this point in time, as I did in an article that you can read on IGN.com that I wrote months ago and is still somehow relevant, there is... Claire Obscure is successful. I don't mean to down-talk Claire Obscure's success. And I do think this is a broader conversation that is worth having, but it's important to have it within the scope of the conversation. When Yoshida was talking about moving to action-based, Yoshida was saying, hey, we need to do something because Final Fantasy is not selling the way that is expected of a Final Fantasy in this day and age. I think this is due to just broader issues of selling a AAA video game in the modern day and age. How much money you are putting in versus how much expected return you get. That's a very difficult thing to solve. I think a lot of companies, not just Square Enix, are trying to solve it right now, and we're seeing a lot of anxieties around that. So you see something like Claire Obscure pop off. It did pop off. Did it pop off to the level that maybe Monster Hunter Wilds did? I don't think sales numbers have bore that out.
It's like 10
last
million.
time I checked. Claire Obscure?
I don't think Claire Obscure
It might sell 10 million. 10 million.
Last public sales number I saw was 3 mil.
I think you're right. I'm confusing it with some comments that I'll get to in just a minute. No, it's like 3 million.
But I
think it'll hit 10 million.
I wouldn't be surprised if it hits, let's say 7-8
lifetime. Like over time.
Lifetime, sure.
Maybe.
Give it a couple of years.
What my point being is that especially Square Enix seems to want Final Fantasy to be a game that sells like Elden Ring numbers of like, we sold 12 million in the course of 3 weeks, like that sort of thing.
They want that so bad.
And so that's why I think there's some anxiety around how do we do that? How do we accomplish that? And that's why we've seen some kind of changes over the years. You can debate the merits of that all you want. I don't think it means that, if we just, what's the Patrick meme? If we pick up Claire Obscure and push it into Final Fantasy, it'll work. No, I don't think. But also, you got to stop asking this guy this question, man. He's got it like 15 times already. Like, it's not ever going to change. And it's...
To paraphrase friend of the show, Alex Donaldson, just like, can you imagine getting Yoshi P up there, Final Fantasy 14, you can ask him anything. And you ask him about what's the next battle system going to be like for Final Fantasy. And here's the thing.
What do you think of Claire Obscure?
We had Victor and I had a great episode of Charlotte Dropouts. We were talking about this panel in particular because Yoshi P was going over so many interesting things about what his inspirations are, and I love that shit. And Kat, you and him are kindred spirits. You're separated at birth. You got to get together and talk. He knows more about Gundam than you potentially.
You need to play Shadowbringers so you can get to Sorrows of Werelit. It is the most Cat content ever.
It's all. It's all
Yoshi
catnip.
P and I love a lot of the same things. When he was talking about what he grew up with, I'm like, oh god, yeah.
Yamato,
It's the
Space
same with
Yamato.
Hideaki Anno. Like,
Yeah.
so much of Evangelion was informed of the fact that he grew up loving stuff like Godzilla, and then he was feeling a little burnt on it, and he was feeling kind of depressed, but also he still loved it. I know that feeling very well.
Yoshi P
I know
got into
depression.
Eva because
I'd-
basically a
I was
colleague locked him
born
in
in
his
it,
car.
molded by it.
Yoshi P knows about Eva because basically a coworker locked him in his car during a snowstorm, blasted Cruel Angel's thesis, and said, "Do you know this anime?
done
Do you know this
that.
anime? Who's your favorite character?" And Yoshi's like, "I haven't seen any of it," but so eventually he watched it.
That's what I'm talking about. I know why we ask him the question, and it's because like, oh, it's the hot topic, and maybe he'll give a different. He's not going to give a different answer this time, but it's.
He says more than most Japanese developers.
He does.
Very,
He's a little bit more outspoken.
He's very outspoken. I met his handler, and she's this very efficient, very cool woman. And the reason he has this woman with him is because he's the type of person where if he's walking through a convention, people will say like, hey, Yoshi P, and he'll try to go over to talk to them, but she's like, nope, and just keeps them on the straight and narrow. She's great.
I think the thing that just drives me a little nuts is number one, the attempts to try and define what Final Fantasy is, and often like missing the ball on it pretty heavily. But also, we've done this before, not even with Final Fantasy right now. We did it with Final Fantasy 13, we did it with Final Fantasy 10, we did it with Final Fantasy 6 to 7. If you want to really age yourself, go look on like online forum message boards when 7 was coming out, and you'll see people be like, that's not real Final Fantasy.
Oh, I was there.
Oh, yeah.
I lived that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was there.
Yeah. You
I
want
was
to feel
floored by it.
You want to feel the bones creak. You can go look at that and see people arguing that like Final Fantasy 7 is not a real Final Fantasy and stuff like that. That was a real argument
like,
that happens.
If you go back to news groups in the 90s, mailing lists, you'll see people dragging the best episodes of The Simpsons ever and say, The Simpsons hasn't been the same.
Absolutely.
It's really funny because it happens all the time, specifically with Final Fantasy, and then because our collective memory in games is so short, is so focused on the 24-hour news cycle and the quick turnaround and the hot topic, we just keep chasing our own tail. It's ridiculous. We're the Ouroboros of gaming discourses, and I don't know why.
Because it does traffic, my dude.
It does traffic
because it does traffic.
Stupid. Can we
keywords?
SEO.
Because people are looking for Final Fantasy 17 turn-based.
This is where I like get
and
on my
guess what? It got shared everywhere.
I get
Guess
on my
what? That quote got shared everywhere. It did traffic.
soapbox, and I say we need to elevate the level of discussion in games beyond just like, well, Final Fantasy 16 wasn't turn-based. Will Final Fantasy 17 be turn-based? Let's talk about it. Let's theorize. I don't give a fuck, dude. Make Final Fantasy 17 or don't. But like, I just want it to be an interesting video game. If you love turn-based so bad, if you are making a comment about turn-based right now and you have not sat down and played through all of Square Enix's Octopath Traveler 2, you need to exit the conversation stage left right now, because Octopath Traveler 2 is out there for all turn-based sickos to love and enjoy. And people are suddenly acting like Claire Obscure brought back turn-based RPGs. No, Baldur's Gate 3 already brought back turn-based RPGs. Metaphor ReFantazio brought back turn-based RPGs. You want to get real crazy? Disco Elysium brought back turn-based RPGs. It's been here for a while, man. It didn't really go anywhere. It's just Final Fantasy did something different for a couple entries. Oh.
Everybody lost their minds.
Tell us how you really feel, Eric.
I'm going to turn into the Joker. I'm going to turn into Fahrensius.
Well, Larian publishing director Michael Dowse also weighed in on Twitter saying, been playing a lot of OG Final Fantasy, and look, I'm not trying to tell anyone what they should or shouldn't like, but there's clearly the audience and desire for a more traditional Final Fantasy experience. There's at least 10 million units in it. Less expensive with higher sales potential. I think a genuinely 90 Metacritic turn-based Final Fantasy with an excellent original story and characters could pull 9 to 15 million in sales. You can make the combat system more dynamic, has been done. That said, desire to build must lay with developers themselves. Should all Final Fantasy be turn-based? No, please don't stab me. I'm just saying, if you want to make a lot of money and bring back the core heart of the franchise, now is a good shout. And that is what they're getting to. It's not about Final Fantasy 16 being an action game. It's that there's something missing about 15 and 16 and 13 and 12 where they just don't feel quite right. Just don't feel quite right.
You like had me for a little bit, even back to 13, and then the second you said 12, I was like, no. Turn that dial back the other way.
12 just did not feel right. I mean, 10 was the last time that the series really felt right.
No.
I know the MMOs don't count.
12
and we were talking about the vibe of 9. That was the end of an era.
12 is evil.
The end of classic Final Fantasy as we know it. And then 10 still had a vibe, still felt like Final Fantasy. And then after that, I don't even know what the Gambit system. Come on, man, that doesn't feel like Final Fantasy. It just doesn't.
I've been hearing this is not Final Fantasy since Final Fantasy 7. So this conversation is older than my bones. I just can't have it anymore.
The frustration I have is that even that, from a person who I'm sure is
it's a vibe, man. The vibes are off.
It's a vibe, but then you say, why don't they just make a pixel turn-based RPG and it'll sell 10 million units easy? Octopath Traveler 2 is that and did not, as far as I know, sell that many units.
Okay. So one of the problems that Final Fantasy has had going back to 7 is that 7 defined itself on A, beautiful cinematics, B, just like graphics, full stop. C, scope, huge world, so much to do, so much to find and explore. That's really effing hard to do in this day and age. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth decided to try and do it, and if anything, went overboard. And a lot of people weren't resonating with it because a lot of the stuff that they put in felt less bespoke, less interesting. The side quests weren't quite as good. It was a little too fetch questy, a little too throwaway, etc. But 7 Rebirth was on the path, and not just because of the fact that it was Final Fantasy VII again. It had the humor of a Final Fantasy game. It had the interesting things to do while going around the world. It had the mini games. Mini games have always been a big part of Final Fantasy, and the battle system felt right. And I think the presentation and the narrative, there's a beautiful game. It's just a beautiful, beautiful game. So what Yoshi P was saying is don't flatten it to just being turn-based. There's a lot of different things.
Yes,
holistically,
yes.
He's right.
There's a lot of aspects of Final Fantasy, and we need a Final Fantasy that brings it all together, and we're kind of looking for that. That's my only point.
No, I agree with you there. I was referring to the marketing person's points about like, why don't they just make a pixel-based classic game? Like they did that with Octopath Traveler 2, with the Saga games. They brought Saga back. Stranger Paradise is a Final Fantasy game, and like it's the thing of like, okay, well, if a game without the Final Fantasy name but is a pixel RPG with turn-based mechanics can't sell that degree of sales, and if a game with Final Fantasy in the name that isn't that can't do that level of sales, why do you think that merging the two will suddenly work? That's kind of where I'm coming from. But broader to the point, I think if we're going to diagnose the problems with Final Fantasy, I'm going to be honest, I think it starts and ends with the party. I think this whole pursuit of a single player core, you play one person Final Fantasy has not worked. We did it with 15. No. We did it with 16.
It's an ensemble cast.
I think you need I like a good chunk of 16's cast. I think all of the dominants are really great characters. The problem is you're playing as Clive for most of the game. It's a very Witcher-esque solo game for most of it because you're kind of just doing Geralt stuff as Clive and doing side quests and all that. And a lot of the side characters are pretty unremarkable. There's literally a character named Mid, and it became a joke that like, oh, Mid just showed up.
I love Mid. Justice for Mid.
I do actually love Mid for that reason, like a really fun character because of that. But then it's always funny. It's like, oh, finally Mid is here.
Mid will save us.
And
Good
like
old Mid.
15 also like core cast, very good, and a really great antagonist. I really like Arden as the antagonist. I think that was maybe a problem with 16.
He's a good antagonist.
Yeah,
good
I think
villain.
16 needed a better villain than was it Hugo was kind of like the main antagonist for the first half, and then you kind of had a hodgepodge leading up to Ultima in the second half. 15 had Arden, and Arden was a really solid antagonist. But again, outside of the main cast, you're kind of struggling. You have Sydney, Aranea, Iris, and then I'm struggling to name any of the dudes in that game, to be honest, because they're all kind of the same guy. They all kind of look like who's the guy from Breaking Bad, Jesse. They look like that.
Jesse Pinkman.
Yeah, they all look like Jesse, but in like Ivalice attire. It's you need like a core party. I think that's what 7 really showed was having.
I can't keep getting away with this.
Having like
put in Final
Cloud,
Fantasy,
Tifa, Aerith, Red 13, Barrett, Yuffie, like Vincent, all of these characters together and doing stuff.
That's the
together
Nomura difference,
really
baby.
Works. Yeah. It's you need something like that. Even 13 has a really good cast, I think. Well, it has half of a really good cast.
I like Fang.
I like Saws.
I like Lightning.
Saws
I like
cool.
Saws.
Fang,
I like
Vanille.
Fang, and I like Vanille.
I don't like
Hope. I don't like Snow.
Don't like Snow.
That was an idiot.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's like 2/3 of a really good cast.
Pretty good numbers, honestly.
Yeah, honestly.
Not every Final Fantasy 9 is Amaranth. Nobody cares about him.
I'll say, what's the Final Fantasy 8 cast rating at? Because I feel like 8 has some really big hits and some really big misses.
I love 8. I'm one of the biggest supporters of 8.
Nobody cares about Irvine.
Pretty weak cast. Like Irvine, pretty bad.
I like Quistis.
I love Quistis.
Quistis, mad problematic,
Renoa.
but we love her. Yeah.
Selfie's a heart and soul. Who else is in 8? Oh my gosh, Zell. Ugh. Zell.
Zell in Magic goes crazy though. That Zell card kind of.
The best part of Zell is that he chokes on a hot dog at the end.
That's all I know him for. He chokes on a hot dog. He's a hot dog dude.
Is he like the guy? Zell for some reason has the same energy to me as the guy from Metal Gear Solid that always has IBS. You know what I'm talking about? Like the guy who's always getting like the stomach rumbles.
Yes.
Yeah. Zell is that dude. It's like the same energy to me.
Doesn't he have a face tattoo or something?
Yes, he does.
It's like a
He
tribal
definitely
tattoo,
does.
a real 90s cringe stuff.
Yeah, it's actually the same one that's on the Game Boy Advance SP tribal that went out. It's the same.
It is.
It's basically
Holy
the
shit,
same
you're
thing.
right.
Yeah.
God, that game is so 90s and I love it.
Oh, it's so extremely 90s.
Do you like Cypher and his little gang?
Yeah, I like Cypher.
Is it Cypher or Cipher? It's Cypher, right?
I always said
Sephora. Sephora.
I had a friend before Final Fantasy came out, so this will tell you what it is. I had a friend who insisted that Sephiroth's name was Sephiro. He's like, no, it's Sephiro.
Sephir.
And I'm like, oh yeah, it must be Sephiro.
Mamma mia, that's Sephiro.
Okay. I think we're running out of time, actually. We've been talking for quite a while, but...
Yeah, we have.
Yeah. Just one last side note, because it's TCG month, or TCG 2 months. Gundam TCG's pre-releases this weekend, and Eric and I are both going to go play it. I think I'm going to play the Gundam Wing one, Eric.
Nice.
Yeah, I did my starter deck event last night, and I picked Xeon because I'm always going to pick the Zaku's. I love the Zaku's. And I fought the Wing deck twice and the Xeon deck once. I went 1 and 2 overall, which I was pretty happy with. I just didn't want the goose egg. I beat one of the Wing decks, and I lost to the Wing deck and the Xeon deck. The Xeon deck was comical. For those who don't know how it works, it's kind of, if you've played a Bandai card game, my understanding is pretty similar to that. It is a prize-taking game where kind of you play out your Gundams. You get resources over time. You don't have to draw into your resources like you do in Magic. You just kind of lay them out as the game goes on turn by turn, which I kind of like. But it's all about attacking each other's bases and eventually breaking through the shields, and then you just have to do damage to the other person to win, which I like. Add some like tension as it ramps up, because as you break down shields, you flip them over and they're actual cards from your deck, and if they have markers on them that say burst, you actually get an effect from that. So you can have really clutch moments where I was getting down low on shields and I pulled a shield card over and it was a burst effect that gave me like a huge advantage, and I could swing the tempo back in my favor. So I thought that was a really interesting design space. I think when it comes to the actual game, I'm still kind of iffy on it. I think there's some cool stuff in the starter decks in terms of identity and playstyle. You're going to do pretty well with the wing deck. Heavy Arms Troa is a disgusting synergy. It's basically if you kill a unit with Troa in combat, then you ping everybody else on the field for 1 damage. And against a Xeon deck, that gets really annoying because Xeon loves the little token Zaku's just rolling out, turn after turn after turn and generating a lot of Zaku's. So it's a cool conceptual game. I think one thing that was missing for me is there's not a lot of interaction. It felt like just kind of two parties swinging at each other back and forth, and that might be just because people are still unfamiliar with the game, but there's not a lot of casting or playing cards that aren't just putting bodies on the field and slamming them into other bodies. And I think that's kind of where I'm curious what this ends up being as time goes on, because I do love putting out the Zaku's, but even within the starter set and then the booster set that's coming out afterwards, there's already a reprint of Char's Zaku 2, and I love Char's Zaku 2. I have a Gunpla of Char's Zaku 2, but I don't think we need to keep running that back. Where's the Sazabi? I want my Sazabi out there. So
Sazabi rules.
Yeah.
Well, I got bad news, Eric. Gundam is all about running it back. It's what Gundam does.
Yeah, so I'm curious. I don't know if I'm gonna stick with it, but I wanted to at least do the starter deck event to kind of get an idea of what they're doing, and they're doing something interesting. I just don't know if I want to juggle 2 card games, and if I'm picking between playing more Gundam TCG and finishing building my commander deck, I'm going to finish building.
There's no way that I'm going to be playing this long term, but I'm at least mildly interested in it.
yeah. I would run this back if I was playing with some people who consistently played and wanted to kind of get a little bit invested in it, and also if the booster set, the first run, seems like it adds enough variety to what the starter decks are doing. But it's interesting. I would recommend getting some of the starter decks if you can. They're a little high in demand, but those are pretty fun to play against each other, and I found the systems to be pretty interesting, and for like $10-15 that's not unreasonable an ask, so it's pretty good.
Okay, that's it for the tavern. Nadia, take us home.
Submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society. I call this the tale of the talking finger. Okay, have you ever bitten by an animal?
No, thank God.
Okay, so
I've been bitten by a cat, but not so badly that they broke skin.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. One thing that happens when you're a dog groomer is very occasionally you get bit. Usually it's your fault.
Oh, this is going to become a thing, isn't it?
Yeah, probably. So usually it's your fault because you didn't really read the cues of the animal and you were careless, whatever. But the thing is, if you get bit by a dog when you're at work, as long as your finger's still holding on, go back to work. If you're bit by a cat, you go to the hospital because the infection can be absolutely crazy. But a friend of mine who I worked with, her name was also Nadia, and she was very much another Nadia like myself. She got bit really badly one day by a poodle. It got her finger from basically the whole side of her finger.
Poodles can be mean.
And what's that?
Poodles can be mean.
Mini poodles can be kind of mean.
Poodles are very mean.
Yeah.
They're hard to.
Very nice ones.
The big poodles are very difficult to deal with. Very temperamental dogs.
Big poodles, really?
Yeah. Actually, my partner's aunt had a poodle, and it was apparently a nightmare.
Wow. It can,
like a standard poodle.
A lot can depend on breeding. Basically, if a breed gets popular, suddenly backyard breeders just flood the place. And God, I've seen it happen with Dalmatians. 101 Dalmatians just destroy that breed.
Yeah,
but anyway,
Dalmatians are also a nightmare, apparently.
Hey, I've never met one that wasn't, to be honest with you. Sorry, listeners. If you have a nightmare, if you have a Dalmatian that's not a nightmare, let me know. But in any case, she got bit, sliced open, and she just kind of finished work that day because she wasn't bleeding, so you're not going to bleed on the dog. It's fine. Your choice is when you get a bite like that, you can go to the hospital, but they're not going to do anything because they don't want to sew up bites because they can get infected. So another option is to get crazy glue and just kind of glue it shut, or go to the vet next door and ask them to glue it shut, on under the table, as it were. But so this girl, she got it glued. She came to work the next day. Of course, you're working with water, and soap, so it just opens right up again. That's another reason not to bother getting it stitched up or whatever. So she's leaving for work this day, and my manager asks her, like, how's your finger? And she just kind of holds up the finger, right? The glue's all gone. And she starts making it talk. A little flap of skin.
Oh, like, God.
Hello, Darcy. Hello, Nadia. How are you?
Yep.
And my manager just takes the booking binder and hits her with it.
Oh, my God. Oh.
That's the kind of shit you dealt with when you were a groomer. It's so great.
No, that's right. No. That rules.
Oh, it was a great field. We'd always get people come in and say, hi, can I retire into this field? Sure, do it. Please. Do it.
I can't even. Wow.
So yeah, that was I gotten some pretty... I haven't gotten too many bad bites. I got one really bad bite in my life, and that was the one time. It wasn't my fault. This dog just turned on me. It was a little Shih Tzu, and it sliced me down to the bone. That was a bad one.
Yeah, the little dogs bite a little harder than you think they do, whereas the big dogs usually tend to be pretty chill and pretty, like, as long as you're not doing anything over the top, like, they're not going to have a problem with you. But the little dogs will just, like, nip at you for no reason.
Oh, F you up.
Yeah.
If you've ever tried to groom a Newfoundland, they are the sweetest dogs on earth. I've actually, like, once I groomed one and I just kind of, like, took a nap against it because there was no managers nearby, and it's like, cool, I'll let you do that. I'm cool. Because they know they are big, and if they don't want to stand and get groomed, they don't have to. They just sit there in a pile of fur, and you have to work around that. And that's why most groomers burn out in 5 years.
And that's the end of this week's episode of Axe of the Blood God. Thank you so much for listening. Once again, if you enjoy the show, please consider supporting us on Patreon, patreon.com/bloodgodpod. We're heading now into the Axe of Blood God post show with our Stars of Destiny, where I'm sure we'll talk about lots more pet incidents and many other things as well. Maybe we'll argue more about Final Fantasy. It's kind of what we do on this show.
I gotta tell y'all about Uma Musume some more. That's what we're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right. We gotta talk about...
We didn't get to talk about that on the show, but maybe we can cover it
forever.
I can try.
Excellent. Yeah, it's all happening on the Discord. We're doing a lot of things right now. We were playing Commander on stream with community members, Zixa and Rob O'Reilly. We did the book club a little while ago. Maybe we'll be playing board games. I don't know. We've got Final Fantasy 14 nights. It's so much fun. Come join the Discord. It's really great. You can do that by supporting the Patreon. You'll also get access to our newsletter, which comes out every Thursday from Nadia. She has interesting thoughts. Thoughts are happening. Shop.bloodgodpod is where you can get merch. And also, programming note, I'm going to be on Game Mess Mornings on Monday with Jeff Grubb.
Nice.
Talking about whatever is happening in the games industry. So that will be happening real soon. A little Giant Bomb, Axe of the Blood God crossover. I'm really looking forward to. Okay, that's it for this episode. Thank you so much. I've been Kat Bailey. We'll see you again next week. And for Nadia, Eric, myself, thanks for listening. And happy adventuring.